I'm Anson, your co-host. I'm a project engineer working with Vertex since 2016. We have Yoka with us today. He will be managing the background technical questions of the webinar. We are also joined by David, who prepared and recorded our demonstration. So David, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm a project manager here at Vertex. I've been here for about 10 years, or exactly 10 years, but I've been detailing frames and trusses for about 20 years before that, and this used to be a typical problem that used to irritate me with other software, so hopefully this webinar today will help.
Okay, so in this webinar, we will be showing you how to customize Vertex BD to develop and manage a custom wall library with specific sheathing, cladding layers, and framing tools. We will also demonstrate how to adjust framing details to ensure seamless coordination between cladding and framing, which will help saving production time in enhancing detailing efficiency. So in today's agenda, we will be next playing a presentation, and then in the end, we will have a short Q&A section. So without further delay, let's begin with the video demonstration.
Okay, so we're going to go through adding sheathing to a wall, this vertical cladding, with a view to creating these double studs. So you've got something to fix them to. This is slightly different to cladding. Cladding being if you need to see the sheathing with the profile, with all the grooves and the like shiplap, overlap, that sort of thing, that would be cladding. There's a couple of different tools with cladding, but for this webinar, we're just going to focus on doing sheathing. Okay, so there are three basic things we need. First, for the wall, we need we need a sheathing layer, we need the sheet itself, and we need some framing tools. Once we have those things, we can create a new wall type. So let's start with the sheathing layer. So we'll come into our system and we'll search wall layer. Okay, so wall layers here, and it's going to be in the system, I think, and it'll be under architectural tools, I think, wall layers, even though I've found it. So we can just pick something similar, or actually it doesn't even have to be similar, we can pick anything at all really. Let's just pick something at random, and I'll right click on it and we'll say copy to a new custom library. And we'll have to give it a new name. Let's just say it's custom. All right, so that's added it down here. Then what we can do is double click on this, and we're just going to change this to what we want. So I'm going to assume we're doing shadow clad. So let's call this shadow clad, and the wall types, it's going to be sheathing. It's not drywall, could be siding, could be cladding. Sheathing's our main main one, but we'll add these just in case for future use. Say OK, and these just act as a filter. It's 12mm thick, and we'll give it a code. Let's say it's SC12 shadow clad. It's 1200 wide. Framing tools, we can add framing tools here once we've created them. This will just mean when we add this layer, these framing tools will come in automatically. So we can come back and add those if we want. So we'll say OK. So that's our sheathing layer. Now we need the sheet itself. Let's see what comes up if we just search sheet. Oh, I've got shadow clad in here already. But it should be under, it would normally be under System, Materials, Structural Sheets, and we would come down to something like Plywood Boards AU. And we would do the same thing, pick one of these, right click and say copy to a new custom library. Now I've got a feeling I may already have that in here. So under our custom, it's going to be where were we? Materials. Oh, so it's not there. So let's just do this then. Copy to a new custom library. And we'll do the same thing, call it custom. Okay. All right. And that's that. What we can do, we can come in here, I think, and can we double click it and change that, which is fine. We can also right click here and say edit library content. Okay, so let's change this to what we want. So our code will be, this will link it to our material layer. Let's call this shadow clad 24, 2.4 high. Description would be shadow clad and it'd be 1200 wide. So this is going to be our cover. The actual sheet width is 1212, or I think, or it might be 1216, but the cover will be 1200. So, and the height will be 2440. Thickness will be 12, and that's really all we've got to fill in. So let's copy this as well, because it also comes in 2700, and in that case it would be 2745, I think. This would have been 2440. And this will be 2745, and it's still 12 mil, and we don't need to fill anything in for the rest of these tabs. So, okay. Then we need some framing tools. So come back up to System, Framing Tools. And we need wall sheathing tools. And the one we're going to use for shadow clad is going to be this routed. So routed basically just means we start on one end of the wall and they come through one sheet after the other, and any openings get routed out. So let's do this, and we'll say copy to a new custom library, sheathing methods, custom. It's down here, and okay, we'll just have to pick that. double click it, and let's give it a new name. We'll just call it SC. Now, the most important thing for these framing tools is that the sheets are going to generate the studs, meaning the sheet starts from this end and it's going to generate this stud at the edge, or these two studs, and the two means that we're going to end up with 2 studs per sheet. So it's just going to, essentially it's saying it's at 600 centers. Now direction, let's say left to right, from top to bottom, and sheet direction will be vertical. And that is all we need to do. We'll say OK. And let's close that. So now we've got everything we need to come and assemble a new wall. So we're still in system. We'll come to walls, and let's create a new wall, a new library, and let's call it Shadow Clad. And we'll say OK. Let's say it's going to be on a 89mm frame. So this is a system wall, and it says down here cannot be edited. System wall library cannot be edited. So we're going to copy it. So just right click copy. We'll come down here to our Shadow Clad. In here, say paste. I think we're limited on our characters in here, so let's just change this external to Shadow Clad. These are just names that are going to be used in the background. Our description can be longer. And OK. All right. And now that's our new wall. So what we're going to do is pick on this now. Right click in the material, say insert outside. And this is going to be our new layer. It's going to be a sheathing layer. And we should have our Shadow Clad down here. So this layer is just a 12mm wide layer. We could have used any layer, but remembering that we could have added our framing tools into this layer if we'd wanted. They won't be there at the moment because we didn't do that. So we will right click and say new wall sheathing. And it's come up with our custom methods. And automatically here we've got our new framing tools. And we'll say OK. You can't edit the framing tools here. You're just picking which ones you want to use. So we'll say OK and OK. So that is our new wall. So let's insert our wall. So Shadow Clad. And start here. Whoops. So I'll say generate panels. Okay. Generate parts. Let's have a look. And I've done my same old trick that I usually do and draw it on the framing layer. We can just move that to the architectural. Do it again. All right, so this is our wall with our shadow cloud on it. So let's say we didn't want the cladding to start from this end. See, we've got this odd piece here. Let's say we wanted to start from the other end. What we can do is hold down Alt, select that wall. Oh. Select that layer until it goes pink. Then we can right click and say Framing Tools. And at the moment that layout direction is from left to right. Let's change it from right to left. Okay. And then we'll have to pick the whole wall and generate parts again. Right, so now our odd piece is here. All right, so one other thing we're going to notice here, we've only got a single stud at these points. So if you want double studs here, you're going to have to change the detail in the background. Now, to do that, there is a file called stxx. Okay, so I'm in Notepad. Now, there is this line here. That is the edge of our cladding. So I'm just going to give it a new detail, and all I'm going to do is add an E to the end of this. So it is st-stud E, and this SN hash is going to be a stud number, which will end up being a 1. All right, we'll put that aside. We'll close it down. Now we're going to come into Wall and Framing Details. And hold on, give me a second. What we want to do is probably go and find an existing one. Let's do this. All right, let's take that one. We'll come up here to copy. We'll give it a new name, which will be E1, and say OK. And then this will be right down the bottom. Now we have to edit that detail down here, and what we've got to do is add our second stud. So we'll say copy row. So this would be the first stud, this would be the second stud. So what we're going to do is come over here to offset width. Now I've just got this formula saved off to the side. And we're going to add that in. So what that's saying is it's just stud flange divided by 2, and then KF off is a tolerance between them, which could be set in material specs. So for the second stud, I'll put in there, not sure if you can see, but there's a negative, so negative SF divided by 2 minus KF divided by 2. So this one's plus, this one's minus. Then we need to come to the cross section, and we're just going to make this one a negative, and the other one can stay the same. So this controls the profile direction. All right, and we'll say OK. So hopefully that has set our edge detail here. So if we pick on this, say generate parts again. And now we've got double studs. which is good. Okay, now there's one other thing that we might be wanting to change, and this is this edge detail and how these panels butt up. This is, I might change these. Let's make this a little bit shorter, so it shows that half sheet a bit better. There, okay. It looks like there's another detail there that I might be a bit wrong in the framing tool somewhere. But anyway, let's say we want this sheeting here to overlap. So what we need to do, and let me change the length of that wall to this as well. We control that in our, when we do the generate parts, or generate panels, sorry. And we come to corner details. So at the moment, that's what the corner detail is set to. This is a corner that I'd created beforehand. I'm not going to go into how to create these corners. That's a whole new webinar, but we can create new ones if we want. So let's say we're going to pick a different one, just this one here. And we'll double click that and OK. So now we'll say generate parts. And have a look. So now you see that those cladding pieces are overlapping. So if you needed a detail where, say this edge is set back like this, and you might have a batten in there or something like that, then we can create all that. But you might just need a bit of help from us. All right. Now, how do we put panel breaks in here? So let's say I'll draw a new wall. Let me do it on the framing architectural model pair this time. All right, let's say I've got a long wall. And I think I've got my panel breaks set to, where are we? Come on. Yeah, I've got my panel break set to 10 meters. Now I do that on purpose so that I don't get any panel breaks, but I'll show you why. Let's say we do have some random panel breaks. Okay, and then we're going to generate our panels. And generate parts. Oops. And come to the framing. So this is the problem. We get these odd little panels where we have our panel breaks. So we obviously don't want that. And the trick is to break the walls where we're going to have a join in the panels. So let's do this again. So what I'll do, because I have my panel break set to 10 meters, I'll say generate panels and generate parts. So now I can see where my double studs are, and we would go and change the side we want the framing to start from if we need to. But now I'll come into my panel break and I can pick where I want to break the panel, and I can pick it where these double studs are. So let's say here and here, and I'm using this manual panel break one here. Right, now I can delete that, generate the panels again, and generate parts. And we'll have a look at this framing, which is this wall, and we can see that if I Alt select that, then the panel breaks are in the right place, which is what we want. Okay, so last thing, let's assume that if you're a modular builder, then you may want to show this cladding on your workshop drawings if you're going to install the cladding in the factory. So to do that, let's come back here. Let's create a panel drawing. I'll just take the default one, whatever it is. So what you can do is we can just copy that whole drawing sheet and create a new sheet. And if this one's going to be our framing, we can pick on the view, go to properties, layer filters, and let's turn off the sheathing. So this is going to be our different layers here. Right, so now you're not seeing that sheathing layer there. And if we come to this one, we probably are going to want to see it, but so we may leave that one like that. But if you want to delete different views or delete different schedules, we can do that. We can come into this 3D. We can have a look at that, properties. Let's say we're going to turn this one on, sheathing on, parts on. We don't need labels. And OK. So now we would see what this panel is looking like with the sheathing. Now, there's one last thing you're going to have to do here, and so that we can print both of these drawing sheets out. And we have to add this wind plot border, and it's under Components, Drawing Forms, Publisher. This is an A4 sheet, so this is it here. And oops, let's rotate that round. And we just have to, you can position this properly, but we just have to put that on there and here. So what that means is that Publisher's going to find this wind plot form and it's going to print both of them. So if you haven't worked it out by now, to print these out, you have to use Publisher, and that'll be under here. So Publisher is another webinar as well, or you can have a look in our online help to work that out. But you would generally go through, I've just done this on this sheet itself, but you would generally go through our panel drawings and panel template drawings and create a permanent new sheet. But yeah, that concludes the video. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, David, for the excellent demonstration. I hope everyone has picked up valuable information to apply to your production. Now, we will open the floor for any questions. So we have a question here. What happens on interior and exterior corners in terms of the sheet overspanning, underspanning, and thus affecting the stud spacing?
With the external cladding, that layer was the one that was generating the studs. So you can't have, well, you might be able to have two layers generating studs at the same time. I haven't actually tried. But then the odd sheet at the end, that will automatically get cut off. But generally, you would only have one layer generating the studs. So there shouldn't be a problem with them conflicting with each other.
Thank you. Any further questions?
So on an external corner, one of the sheets has to overspan. Yeah, okay. So that's controlled within that cladding layer. So the cladding layer starts from where the two walls intersect. It knows it's 1200 long, that sheet, and so that's where the double stud goes. And it basically just works that out. So the origin of the sheet is based on that corner detail.
There is question that you want to overspan the sub-wall, so I think it's just it's detailed at how much the sheeting overlap to the wall frame, I guess.
Yeah, vertically, we're not doing anything automatically. If you've got two stories, that's just going to be where the layers are joined. It will put the sheets in at the height, but I think it's just going to start at the top of the cladding layer, wherever you put it in the framing tools, and work its way down. And then you would, if you've got nog rows, you would manually set those in the wall framing tools.
Question, can our specific nominated sheets be included in the report list?
Yeah, in the sheets should all come up in whatever reports. If we've got reports that collect those, yeah, we can collect all those sheets.
Okay, so any other questions? So here John wants to ask also that, what if we want to break walls at sheet joints?
What was that again, Ed? Break the walls where?
At sheet joint.
Oh, that's where I was showing in the video. That's where I like to do one big panel, generate the sheets so you can see where the sheets are, and then use that manual break. We don't have a function that's going to do panel breaks where they should be before you've generated the studs and sheets, etc. So I sort of use that two-step process.
Thanks, John, for your question. Okay, so if we don't have further questions, so like I said, we have this kind of a YouTube channel where we put all the webinar recording along with some of new feature description and how-to videos. Feel free to go on the Vertex BD Building Design Software YouTube channel to check out our videos. This video will be also uploaded shortly after the webinar finishes. Our next webinar is scheduled on the 26th of November. It's going to be related to how to enhance your workflow with the publisher. So David also mentioned about those drawings with the publisher, and this will be the webinar to watch if you're interested in that. If you are interested in Vertex software solutions and any other technical questions, feel free to contact our sales team and also go on our official website for any further inquiries. Otherwise, that will be all of our content today. And thank you very much for your attention and attendees. We'll catch you in the next one.